Hey guys, and welcome back to Forever Talk Wrestling. Now today I'm going to be doing a top 10 list of who I think are the best men and female wrestlers in WWE right now. So, yeah, this is going to be a really difficult decision because we've got a lot of talented men and female wrestlers out there at the moment. So, yeah, let's get into this video, shall we? Let's get into it. Okay, definitely the first one in there at number 10 has got to be Kevin Owens. I mean, his performances over the last year and a half, last year and a bit really, just absolutely been incredible. I mean, that match with Seth Rollins he had at WrestleMania 36, it's just absolutely insane, and it's the same for the last man standing match at the Royal Rumble in January. I mean, that was just an incredible matchup, and Kevin Owens, he held as good as he got, really. He's just absolutely been really consistent, especially over these last few months. I mean, these last few months, this rivalry he's had with Roman Reigns, it's just absolutely been incredible. I mean, starting off at TLC, and they've had constant matches. And they had a match on the Christmas edition of SmackDown inside a steel cage for the Universal Championship. But Kevin Owens, he's absolutely been, and I really don't want to nick this off AJ Styles, but he has absolutely been in phenomenal form this last year. Last year and a half really. And he's just absolutely been insane. So, yeah, Kevin Owens definitely for me at number 10 for me. Okay, number 9 is the Goddess and the current Little Miss Bliss, Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss, this year and a half for her, she's been absolutely a joy to watch. I mean, not just in the ring, but outside the ring as Little Miss Bliss. I mean, she's been in that ring. She's been absolutely captivating. She really has been, guys. I mean, her run as tag team champions with Nikki Cross as the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible, the work she put in with Nikki Cross. I mean, that was just absolutely captivating. But also her work alongside The Fiend, that's also been captivating, especially over these last few months. This thing she's had with Randy Orton. I mean, just recently, last Monday, she managed to get him to choke on some, I'm not exactly sure what they call it. It looked like it was some black blood or something. I'm not exactly sure what the heck it was. It came right out of his mouth. And also in the gauntlet match before Elimination Chamber, officially she got Randy Orton counted out after she appeared on the on the monitors inside the WWE Thunderdome. Yeah, really cost Randy Orton his chance at possibly being the last entrant into that Elimination Chamber match for the WWE title. So, yeah, definitely Alexa Bliss. I think she deserves to be inside the top 10. And, yeah, definitely deserves to be number 9. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. It was my phone going off there. Really, I've just been having a few issues and all that. So I'm just going to quickly put that on silent. There we go. Right. Back to it. Right. Okay, then now the next one. Now this one definitely deserves to be in that top 10. Especially his presence after being in the Hurt Business, which has really been dominant, especially these few months they've been together. Definitely has to be the former United States champion and could be the future WWE champion if he beats The Miz tonight on Raw. The almighty Bobby Lashley. Now, Bobby Lashley, he's just been so dominant over these last few months, especially when he was United States champion. I mean, definitely saw the matches he had. The matches he had, I mean, against the likes of Slapjack, against Riddle, against Keith Lee, and also against Tyson O'Neil. He was really dominant in those matches, and also that just made him a huge threat. But the power Lashley has is just so scary. It's just so scary, the power of Lashley. It's just, if you're a wrestler, I reckon you really need to be afraid of this guy, because he can easily put you in hospital with a really serious injury. That's just how much power he has. He's just so powerful. And I think this guy, if he is the new WWE champion, I think pretty much he deserves that title. I mean, he's just been so consistent, especially as the United States champion over these last few months. I mean, 6 months as the United States champion, and they've just been nothing but, it's just been nothing but absolutely an almighty title reign. So Lashley definitely, I think he at number 8, yeah, I think he definitely needs to be in there. Okay, at number 7 on there is Keith Lee. Now Keith Lee, I have to say, he's just absolutely been brilliant. He really has been, especially since joining Monday Night Raw just before Payback, and had a match against Keith Lee in his first WWE pay-per-view since joining Raw. I mean, it was just nothing but absolutely exceptional. I mean, what Keith Lee did against Randy Orton, I mean, defeating him on his first pay-per-view as a member of the main roster on Raw. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. And also, it was just to see where Lee definitely transformed into that wrestler we all knew he could be. And that WWE title match against Drew McIntyre right at the start of this year, I mean, that was just an incredible title match, and he really took Drew McIntyre all the way. It was just a shame that he missed out on being WWE Champion. It's just an absolute shame, but really can't take that match away from Keith Lee or Drew McIntyre. I mean, that match, those two were just absolutely incredible. It was just that Drew McIntyre was the better wrestler in the ring on that day, but definitely, I think Keith Lee, he has what it takes to be WWE champion or a future champion. Definitely has what it takes. The power, the strength. He's just a wrestler that I think definitely got a championship reign in him. Maybe not right now, but maybe in the distant future that Keith Lee can be that champion we all know he can be. So yeah, definitely Keith Lee, he has that potential to be that champion WWE deserves, and he's also been the best promo package of the year in WWE, so Keith Lee deserves to be in that top 10 in my view. Definitely deserves it. Okay, at number 6. Now, I have to admit now, guys, at number 6, definitely for me, has to be the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka! Now, 2020, it was a unique year, especially in the women's division on both Raw and SmackDown, with the two biggest stars on the main roster, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, having gone for at least half the year, with Becky Lynch having gone out of action since she was pregnant, and Charlotte Flair had that really bad shoulder injury, courtesy of the current one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, which will be defended on NXT later this week, Nia Jax. So yeah, it was really weird time there for both Raw and SmackDown. But really, before that, just Asuka, since she has been on Raw and SmackDown, she has been nothing but exceptional. She has taken wrestlers. She's just absolutely taken matches against fellow female wrestlers and just made them absolutely unique and amazing. The way Asuka has in that ring, she's just absolutely incredible. Asuka, she just proves to everyone that being called the Empress of Tomorrow definitely has advantages, especially for her. And Asuka definitely is that kind of woman to have a long title reign. I think Asuka's title reigns, I think Asuka's longest title reign ever was when she was one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions with Kairi Sane. And that, I think they were Women's Tag Team Champions for 181 days. That was a record reign, and the longest reign as the Women's Tag Team Champions. So, yeah. Now, Asuka, since becoming Tag Team Champion with Kairi Sane, she won the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank, because the Raw Women's Championship was inside the Women's Money in the Bank contract, and Asuka won it, making her the new Raw Women's Champion. But Asuka had a little bit of a derailment when the boss, Sasha Banks, won the Raw Women's Championship just before SummerSlam. But then Asuka, she won it back at SummerSlam, and she has held onto that championship ever since then. But I think we can definitely say that Asuka, she's been a brilliant female wrestler, and definitely a brilliant Raw Women's Champion. I mean, she's just an absolute incredible wrestler. She really is. Now, at number 6 is the current NXT champion, Finn Balor. Now, Finn Balor, since coming back to NXT, he's changed as a wrestler. He's definitely changed as a wrestler. Really, he doesn't exactly trust many people. And really, he's just absolutely, he was just so not trusting then, and he's still not trusting now, really, with certain people. And I can understand that. I can really understand that, because really you can't exactly trust people. And since coming back, he is officially, he was in a match for the vacant NXT North American Championship at the latter end of last year. He was involved in that match. He had a match against, I think it was either Johnny Gargano or Damian Priest for a spot in the ladder match at NXT TakeOver 30 for the NXT North American Championship, but fortunately he lost that match But since becoming NXT champion, he's had some insane matches, and the most insane match he had in NXT definitely had to be most recently against the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Now that match, that was brutal. It was brutal, especially for Finn Balor when Pete Dunne, I think he even snapped some of his fingers. It was that painful. I don't think I would have lasted the remainder of that match, especially with both fingers on his hands broken, but he managed to carry on and beat Pete Dunne to retain the NXT championship. But then right afterwards he got attacked and everything by Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, the NXT tag team champions, and also by Adam Cole. But definitely the Prince is absolutely been an incredible addition to the NXT roster, and really has been an amazing wrestler and NXT champion since he came back. So who knows what the future could lie for Finn Balor. Maybe if he does come back to either Raw or SmackDown, it could be a potential, WWE champion, or the title that he first won against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam in 2016, which he claimed he never lost, the Universal Championship. So who knows what the future could lie for Finn Balor. Now, we're halfway through the top 10 list. We are now at number 5. And at number 5, definitely I think it has to be a tag team. Definitely a tag team. Especially a tag team as good as Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits. Now, definitely tag team wrestling, it left a lot to be desired in 2020, particularly over the last few months of 2020. But Ford and Dawkins, they continued to shine through an otherwise dreary part of the company. Now they won their tag belts at the beginning of March and really had an incredible title reign. But I think most of their matches they had were against Andrade and Angelo Garza. Well, really would have been Angelo Garza and Austin Theory if Austin Theory had not left them and gone with Seth Rollins and Murphy. Then he went back to NXT and is currently with Johnny Gargano. But Ford and Dawkins, they didn't look back, and they had this incredible thing with the Viking Raiders. I mean, they had this anything we can do, anything you can do, we can do better sort of series with the Viking Raiders. I remember they had basketball, axe throwing, bowling, they even had a triathlon series, I think it was. I remember they had they had axe chopping, the pole vault, and I can't remember what the other one was, but then they finally were in the ring, and definitely could say that Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, they were deserved winners in that match against the Viking Raiders. But the Viking Raiders, they were taken to their limits. They really were. The Street Profits. I mean, the Street Profits, they really, against the Viking Raiders, I mean, the limit, they were definitely taken to. It was definitely just insane in that match. And still, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, they continue to be entertaining, especially with the cups. I mean, since Women's SmackDown, I think they've had these cups like blowing up in the air and then coming down when they're doing their entrances. I mean, just made their entrance so just brilliant. It just made that another part of their entrance seem definitely interesting. Definitely interesting, and I think they definitely deserve to be Raw Tag Team Champions, because the performances they put in to that championship reign as the Street Profits, I mean, they were just absolutely incredible. And when you think the Street Profits to hold on to that tag team title reign for pretty much 7 months on Raw, and then hold it for another 4 months on SmackDown, you just think that 11 months as tag team champions, that was just an absolute incredible title reign by the Street Profits, and definitely deserve, in my view, to be in there, because they've been an incredible tag team, and I can just see that continuing in 2021. Definitely the Street Profits. Now I'm going to quote something here, because the Street Profits are up and they want the smoke. Always wanted to say that, guys. Okay. Now, number four on the list, we have the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns, I mean, he's just had a crazy few months, especially in 2020 and even 2021. I mean, at the start of the year, he had the feud with Baron Corbin, resulting in a largely forgettable series of matches, especially the, what was it called? I've forgotten it again. What was it? Hang on a minute. Oh, what was that one? Yeah, a Falls Count Anywhere match. Falls Count Anywhere match for at the time between them. It just took that rivalry and really made it something, especially when they had that match on SmackDown and King Corbin ended up losing that match and he had to have dog food. I remember he was poured. I mean, he had dog food all over him by the end of that show because they poured dog food all over him. Oh, that was so funny. But definitely after that, I mean, he changed. I mean, he decided to step away from wrestling during the pandemic due to health reasons because he had leukemia and I reckon he had to go into shielding probably. Then he returned in August after 4 months away and immediately inserted himself into the main event picture after attacking Braun Strowman and The Fiend Bray Wyatt after their match, which resulted in The Fiend Bray Wyatt becoming the new Universal Champion. Well, only for a week anyway. Because then Reigns returned in the Universal Championship match at Payback, his first proper match since coming back after his 4-month break, and won the match and was definitely that champion knew he could be. But his Universal Championship reign, it has been nothing but dominant. I mean, he's come back as a sort of power hungry head of the table now, or power hungry tribal chief head of the table. I mean, he laid claim to anyone that he felt disrespected him or his cousin Jey Uso. I mean, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns definitely had a bit of a thing before Jey did finally decide to join him. I mean, they had 2 matches, one at Hell in a Cell and one at Clash of Champions, where all titles must be defended. So yeah, it's just he had 2 incredible matches against Jey Uso, but then he finally got Jey Uso to join him. But then he really started going after others. I mean, I think he went after the likes of Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, and other superstars he felt really did not feel that he was the head of the table. And also he just, these last 3 months, that rivalry he's had with Kevin Owens definitely felt like he's going far, and now he's going to have WrestleMania match against Edge, which I really think is going to be an absolute incredible match. So Roman Reigns definitely the big dog, deserves that number 4 spot. Now at number 3. At number 3 we have, of course, the boss, Sasha Banks. Now Banks towards the middle part of last year was one half of the women's tag team champions with Bayley. With Bayley for a good chunk of the middle of the year before beginning one of the bitter rivalries of the year within WWE, because that rivalry, that started after Bayley attacked Sasha Banks. She attacked Sasha Banks, putting her in a neck brace after she put a chair around her head and went from the top rope and stomped on it. And apparently this was because Bayley felt like that Sasha was using her. Well, it didn't look like that. So that was pretty much how the best friends split up. But then Sasha just went after Bayley, and soon they had a SmackDown Women's Championship match, which resulted in a disqualification for Bayley after she used a steel chair on Sasha Banks. And then they had a match at Hell in a Cell where Sasha Banks submitted Bayley using the bank statement to make sure that she was the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And then the following week on SmackDown they had another match which saw Sasha Banks retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then she had a bit of a thing with Carmella, with Carmella constantly attacking her week in, week out, and that led to a SmackDown Women's Championship match at TLC, which Sasha Banks won via submission with the bank statement. And then Sasha Banks really has been absolutely incredible since becoming SmackDown Women's Champion. What she had to go through in that rivalry with Bayley, and now she's still got that rivalry with Carmella, even though it has gone down a bit in recent months. I think the boss, she definitely deserves to be on that list. Okay, guys, now we go for the number 1 and 2. So officially at number 2 has got to be Randy Orton. The Randy Orton, what he's done in WWE throughout 2020. At the start of 2020, he had this thing with Edge, after Edge came back at the Royal Rumble. Edge came back then they had all this rivalry thing, which led to two matches between them. One at WrestleMania in a last man standing match, which saw Edge get the better of Orton there. And then they had a match at Backlash, which was described as the greatest wrestling match ever. And that match was just absolutely insane. I mean, they were using finishers by other people. I mean, we had a rock bottom, a pedigree. What else did we have? We had RKOs. We had spears. We had everything in that match. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And it was just an insane match. And then Orton, he moved on to a rivalry with the then WWE champion Drew McIntyre. I mean, what Orton did to McIntyre was just absolutely disgraceful, I have to say. I mean, kicking him in the spine not once, not twice, but 3 times during the Raw after SummerSlam. That just resulted in McIntyre going to hospital with a broken jaw, and then 2 weeks later he came back and Orton got Claymore 3 times during that night, which saw those two have a ambulance match at Clash of Champions, which McIntyre won to retain his WWE Championship, but Randy Orton, he got a taste of his own move. He got hit with the punt kick by McIntyre after getting hit by the Claymore. And then they had their final match at Hell in a Cell, where McIntyre, he finally was defeated by Orton, getting hit by an RKO. So Orton then captured his 14th world title. Then he lost it to McIntyre on Raw, the final Raw before Survivor Series, and then he went on to this thing with the Fiend Bray Wyatt, where at TLC they had a match that was called, I'm not exactly sure what it's called. I think it was, no, I remember now. Yeah, it was called a Firefly. It was called a Firefly Inferno match, I think. Yeah, it was called a Firefly Inferno match, where Randy Orton, he set the Fiend Bray Wyatt on fire. I mean, I mean, in the match, he set him on fire just a little bit. But then he then lit a match and put it on Bray Wyatt, put it on The Fiend, sending The Fiend Bray Wyatt into full flame. And at this current moment in time, but he's currently having a bit of a thing with the Little Miss Bliss, Alexa Bliss, or Little Miss Fiend, as I prefer to say. And Randy Orton, I think we can definitely know why he is called the Viper / Apex Predator. And guys, I really don't know why I said but during that thing there. I really don't know why I said it. Really don't know why. But at number one, there's just one person that deserves to be at number one on that list, and that is my favourite wrestler at the moment, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre. Now McIntyre, oh, what a year and a bit he's had. I mean, at the Royal Rumble, he won it. He won the Royal Rumble back in 2020, where he challenged the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, for a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. And that match was just, it was incredible. Incredible. I mean, there was suplexes, F5s, and claymores. I mean, I think McIntyre hit Lesnar with 4 claymores before finally pinning Lesnar to win the WWE Championship. And then right after, on the same night, he defended the championship against the Big Show, which he won despite not feeling 100%. And then he's just absolutely, incredibly, he's just absolutely been phenomenal in the ring. I mean, the work he put in to that WWE Championship reign. I mean, when we all thought he was going to lose the WWE Championship in matches, he got up and he fought and he retained it. I mean, he had some absolute incredible matches. I mean, against the likes of Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Dolph Ziggler, and Randy Orton. I mean, Randy Orton, I mean, that was a complete rivalry, which I was telling you about just a few moments ago. I mean, that rivalry between those two, I mean, it resulted in McIntyre getting a broken jaw because of it, and he had to go to hospital. But then he came back and claymored Orton 3 times on Raw. And that resulted in those two having an ambulance match, which he won thanks to 2 moves: the Claymore and using Orton's own move against him, the punt kick. But then Orton, unfortunately, after 6 months as WWE Champion, he unfortunately lost the championship to Orton at Hell in a Cell. And then he retained it back. Against Orton in a match just after, just before Survivor Series. And it was just an incredible matchup yet again between those two, which saw McIntyre beat Orton and win back the WWE Championship. And then at the end of it, he had a TLC match against AJ Styles, which saw The Miz and John Morrison intrude, where John Morrison officially cashed in the Money in the Bank contract for The Miz, and The Miz was in the match. So, at the time, McIntyre really didn't have much of a challenge there after he beat AJ Styles and Miz and John Morrison in that match. It saw McIntyre retain, and then he had an absolute shock when he was challenged at the Royal Rumble by the former Universal Champion Goldberg. And those two, they had a match at the Royal Rumble where, in the first attack of the match, McIntyre, he speared Goldberg. But then Goldberg, he hit Drew with 2 more spears and a jackhammer. But when we thought that McIntyre was going to lose the championship, he managed to kick out and hit Goldberg with 2 claymores to retain his WWE Championship. And then, when we thought things for McIntyre were not gonna be any more brutal, Shane McMahon and the WWE official Adam Pearce decided that McIntyre was going to defend his WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber against Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, AJ Styles, and Kofi Kingston, which in that match saw McIntyre retain before Bobby Lashley came out and attacked McIntyre, which saw the Miz cash in the Money in the Bank contract. Now, if you're wondering why I said that twice, now I'll tell you. So, the Miz got the Money in the Bank contract back because John Morrison cashed in for him. So, you see, only the Miz can cash it. Only the person who won the contract can cash it in, not another person for them. So, the Miz got it back and cashed it in on McIntyre, where he would hit a skull-crushing finale on him and win the championship off Drew McIntyre. But if I know Drew, he'll probably win that championship back, so he can have a 3rd WWE Championship reign. So guys, what did you think of my WWE wrestlers top 10? Please let me know down in the comments. who you feel deserve to be in the top 10. If I missed anyone out, please do let me know down in the comments. And also do like this video and subscribe to the Forever Talk Wrestling YouTube channel. And we will see you in the next video. Thank you all very much for watching. And have a good day.